Okay, moving on to the content of our dreams. So the theories are out of our way, some background information is out of the way. Now a focus on maybe some commonalities of our dreams. Everyone's going to have their specific, more personal dreams, but research has gathered and concluded that there are some common themes. For example, one of the commonalities would be the time when we have a dream. All right, and it says here when we are closest to waking, so perhaps our very last REM cycle or even our very first REM cycle of a night's sleep, seem to include dreams of more recent events. So if you remember a dream recently that dealt with something that happened recently, okay, maybe something related to school or something related to your lacrosse team, okay, that is an event that took place recently, so that the chances of that when that dream took place are perhaps your very last REM cycle, before waking up. On the other hand, if you had a dream of, say, uh, an event or a friend from second grade, okay, something that took place back when you were in early elementary school, the chances are that dream took place more right in the middle of the night. So maybe our third, all right, second or third REM stage or REM cycle. What this seems to tell us is that as we get deep into a night's sleep, the deeper memories are more retrievable. All right, and as we start to wake up and get closer to our wake time, those deeper memories are less accessible. All right, next we've got this effect when it comes to dreams known as a compensatory effect. So when you see or hear that word compensatory, what do you think of? Think of the word compensate. So there is the claim that our dreams try to compensate for something we miss out on during the waking hours. And this was proven in a study where participants were taken through all kinds of strenuous exercise all day. Okay, so they were given very little time to rest. All they were allowed to do when it came to rest was use the bathroom and eat. But for the remainder of the day, it was jogging, riding bicycles, all right, exercise, stretching, whatever, just lots of exercise. And then the participants were instructed to go home, go to sleep, and then when they woke up the next morning, they had to journal as much as they could of what they dreamt. And then they brought those dream journals back to the researchers. The researchers put it all together and noticed that there was a common dream, a theme, if you will. And that dream theme was rest and relaxation. People were having lots of dreams about peaceful, restful experiences, lying in a hammock, laying down on the beach, all right, because that was something their body didn't get to experience the day before, so the dream tried to compensate for it. Pretty interesting. Another one are for people who are socially isolated. All right, this is kind of coincidental, but for people who don't get a chance to go out, whether it's on purpose or by accident. Say, for example, a shy individual but doesn't want to be shy. The research says that those individuals are more likely to have dreams involving popularity, being the big men on campus, hero dreams, if you will. And lastly, I don't recommend you do this, but if a person were to go to bed dehydrated, a lot of times this happens, say, during a sports preseason when there's lots of exercise and you're not hydrating yourself, it's believed that you are more likely to have dreams involving water. Not necessarily drinking the water, but water involved in some way. A pool, an ocean, pond, water is involved in some way as a way to compensate. Okay? Next is there are some gender differences in our dream content. So here's what we've got. Females, first of all, seem to dream more often. Okay, so they spend a little bit longer time in their REM stages, indicating more dream stories, dream content. Typically, these are adult females. Dreams are more friendly. They involve or incorporate more pleasant emotions. Dreams include the family more often, children if they have them, even children if they don't have them, and most of their dreams take place indoors. When it comes to their nightmares, there does seem to be a more common nightmare, and that is being victim of some sort of attack. All right, that's the common nightmare among women. Now, when it comes to men, Male dreams are more aggressive, they're more hostile, there's more competitions in those dreams. The dreams incorporate sexuality more, although females have sexual and aggressive dreams also, not as much as men. And look what it says there at the end. Not only are more male dreams taking place outdoors, but a majority of male dreams involve other men. Why might that be? Think about that think about these things here: aggression, hostility, achievement. All right, when you're having your competitive dreams, your sports dreams, most of the time those competitive aggressive dreams involve other males, so that's why they include that there. Common nightmares among males: being victims of misfortune, all right, coming up short, failing dreams, not winning a race, losing items, or being chased. Being chased by who or whom? That's up to the person. A lot of times it's a vague, monstrous figure. Other times it might be something a little bit more specific, okay, something more personal to you. Those are typically indicators of high stress levels in a person's life. All right, moving on to more dream content. Not only are there gender differences, there's differences in our age and what we dream. Age differences, excuse me. Here's the earliest we can go back. All right, we can get back to about age 2 in terms of what we're dreaming about. Why do you think we can't get information from an individual prior to the age of 2? We're pretty certain that babies dream. The problem is language. All right, they can't communicate to us what they're dreaming about. So age 2 is when language formation really starts to take off, and we can get decent feedback from a 2 and 3 year old on what their dreams involve. And here it is. Their dreams are almost like a slideshow. Not a whole lot of story yet, because that grammar and storytelling, the syntax and semantics of language aren't solidified yet. And so it's almost as if they have this slideshow style dream of familiar faces, toys, stuffed animals, etc. Okay, by the time they hit childhood, early childhood, and first, second, third grade, the dreams take on more of a story. Okay, children know how to tell a story, they can read stories, and I think the biggest part of this age range is they now are the star in their dreams, as they're the character in their dream. Very self-centered time in our life, nothing wrong with that, but they are definitely now the key feature in all of their dreams. All right, as a person, as a kid enters into the adolescence, right, the teenage years, they become more adult-like. What does adult-like mean? Think back to what we just talked about with aggression, hostility, sexuality, um, indoor outdoor differences. A big feature of this age range is that there's multiple characters, and those characters are engaging and dialoguing with each other. It doesn't change significantly until, look here, ages 65 and over. Look what happens. Dreams become more related to death and suffering. So that, unfortunately, is a reality. Not only do we get less sleep as we age, remember that from quiz 7, sleep does change with age. When we are sleeping in our older ages, the majority of the dreams, or more of our dreams than other ages, are having dreams related to death and suffering. Why do you think that is? One reason could be it's on their mind more, okay, because they are approaching it more, more and more, or it's because they have more people around them who are struggling with a disease, or who in fact have passed away, and so going to more funerals, having it more on the surface of your mind, can lead to more dreams related to it. Now, I do want to talk about a disorder that is technically a sleep disorder. I put it here under dreams. That's what's called a sleep terror or night terror. I'll share a video or two of some children having these experiences. My kids have had a few of them. My son has had probably 4. My daughter has had, I think, 1, maybe 2. It does typically affect kids, and what we want to remember is that they are much different than a nightmare. All right, the difference is that in a nightmare, a kid wakes up. You can wake a child up, or you can wake yourself up when you're in the middle of a nightmare. And after you wake up, your memory of what it was that was scaring you is pretty accurate. But in a night terror, it's more difficult to do either of those things. It's very difficult to wake them. All right, and when they finally do wake up, a lot of times they'll just go right back to sleep, or they can't tell you exactly what it was that was making them scream. It's almost like a kid just throwing a fit, throwing a hissy fit, a temper tantrum, and then it's over. All right. There are, I suppose, some extreme instances where you could try to wake a kid up. Obviously, you don't want to shake a child. That would be not a smart idea. My son's most recent night terror was a couple weeks ago. He was coming out of the flu, and I tried to put a cold washcloth on his face, and he knew it was there. He put his hands to his face and said, get it off," but it did not wake him up. So even I even thought some cold water would stimulate him enough to wake him up. It didn't. Could happen maybe with other children, but not mine. Adults can experience night terrors, all right, but the night terrors and experienced by adults are usually because of some underlying issue, some underlying syndrome, abuse of drugs or alcohol, or a personality disorder. Okay, so much more uncommon with adults. All right, let's move to our fifth altered state. Okay, the fifth altered state, I'll go pretty quickly before the end of this video here, is called sensory deprivation. The definition: depriving ourselves of our senses. Okay, a radical reduction of sensory stimuli, and this was first discovered in the 1950s in a study known as the McGill study. McGill was a university in Canada. Again, I'll share this video with you guys in the description below. The idea was to put individuals through sensory deprivation for a full week, so depriving them of their sense of sight, their sense of sound, even numbing their sense of touch, to see what would happen. And they were only given time to use the bathroom and eat when they weren't in sensory deprivation. And within 24 to 36 hours, a majority of the participants were demanding to be released. They were going through such unusual, disturbing experiences that they didn't want to be participants in the study anymore. And that's what basically gave us more insight into this altered state, okay, that it might not be a very pleasant experience. Such is the case as these photos that were leaked back in January 2002, suspecting the U.S. military down in Guantanamo Bay of using sensory deprivation techniques on al-Qaeda prisoners. This was a major violation of the Geneva Convention. The U.S. initially denied it, but whistleblowers kept coming out saying, yep, this in fact was happening. You can see as I give you a closer look, these are supposed prisoners going through sensory deprivation torture. Why? The whole idea is to make it an unpleasant experience so much that they will confess, they will give up information. All right, so pretty fascinating altered state, especially when you look at this, that there are spas now popping up all over the country where people can volunteer to undergo sensory deprivation. You can see this picture on the left. This woman is floating in about a foot and a half of heavily salted water, allowing her body to float. That is supposed to numb the sense of touch. And then this tank closes, which would, of course, take away your sense of sight, your sense of sound, and people report a more pleasant experience, a almost spiritual, relaxing experience, which is just fascinating that one single altered state could be torturous to some when against your will, but then when choosing to do it can bring on a completely different experience. Pretty incredible. So obviously we've got time on our hands now. I don't know how much the quarantine will be in effect, but if you have the opportunity to do this, give it a shot. Let me know. Send me an email. All right, send me any sort of feedback on how it goes. I think I've told some classes that some students have done this for me in the past, and the reviews have been mixed. Some guys said it was very bizarre, surreal. Others really enjoyed it. So that's on my to-do list for sure. I will share with you guys if and when I undergo a float experience. So you can search float spa, float STL. There's all kinds of ones that have been popping up around the area. All right. We've got 2 altered states left, and we will cover those in my third and final video for quiz 3. All right, thanks for listening.